Did call to order in the other room due to, as Dr. Skanka said, a meeting with RBEA. So we can move on to the public hearing concerning the 2024 tax levy. We did take attendance. Everyone is here. Ms. Ruska is on her way. And I should have a script for the public hearing.
Oh, this is on my computer. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Did you email it to me by any chance?
Not from here.
Okay. But had you emailed it to me, Marianne?
What?
Did you email her a copy or no?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Do you want to move on to something else? I'll go get it.
Let's go ahead and do that. We'll come back and we'll do the...
Let's do recognition.
Yeah, perfect.
It's by your computer, you said, Marianne?
No, it's
Okay.
on my computer, but.
Okay. We will move on to recognitions. Thank you both.
Good evening, honorable board members. First of all, I just wanted to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to all of you, to all of our community, all of our teachers, all of our staff. I wish everyone a great, not only week and a half left of school, but a great winter vacation, you know? Firstly, we would like to recognize an alumni. She's here. We're very proud of her. Congratulations to 2024 RBHS alumni, Michaela Anshir, for winning first place in the short form nonfiction with her piece, Time to Wake Up, at the 9th Annual National Student Production Awards presented by the Foundation of the National Academy of Arts and Sciences, NADAS. This competition recognized the achievement of high school students nationwide in filmmaking and journalism. Michaela's work was first recognized as a winner in the regional competition before advancing to the national stage, where she was selected amongst the best in the country. Congratulations to Michaela. Congratulations. We're real proud of you, okay? Okay.
Can you
Hang on.
say a few words and tell us what
Yeah,
you're
come, Michaela,
tell
yes.
us what you're doing these days as an RB alum?
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit tall. So these days I decided to take a gap year. I've been working on projects like tomorrow I'm going to be doing a music video with my friend. I've been doing Zoom calls with people in the industry, and I'm trying to get on some sets to work on backstage. So it's been really fun. It's been a crazy couple months since I've graduated, and I'm looking forward to the future. So.
Well, good.
That's
Well, keep in
awesome.
touch and with
Yes.
your music video, if it's appropriate for the board. We'd love to see it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
This recognition memorializes the work she did as a high school student. Next, I would like to recognize the Chris Kringle Mug Design Contest winner, Marilyn Urban. Unfortunately, Marilyn cannot be with us right now because she's at the holiday concert at this moment. It's a very busy day here at RB. Congratulations to Senior Marilyn Urban for winning the Brookfield Farmers Market Chris Kringle Design Competition. Out of 52 submissions, Marilyn's artwork was selected to be displayed on all of the mugs sold at the Chris Kringle Market in Brookfield this year. The mugs were unveiled at Fill My Jar in Brookfield, where Marilyn signed mugs for customers to purchase. Winning this contest is a testament to Marilyn's outstanding artistic abilities in digital design. Congratulations, Marilyn. And we would also like to recognize her teacher, Ms. Patty Sarkade, who helped her with this project. Now, folks, recognizing his first cohort of all-state athletes, I would like to bring up our assistant principal of athletics, Mr. Phil Torres.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to recognize 3 of our student athletes. Our first one was a state qualifier. She was a 4-time state qualifier, and an all-state athlete is Haley Volchek. Unfortunately, she's so good at swimming. She is swimming at junior nationals right now in Austin. So we are cheering her from afar, but that's why she's not able to attend tonight. Just a brief bio on Haley and her accomplishments. Congratulations to Haley Volchek on qualifying for the IHSA Girls Swim Meet for the 4th consecutive year. At the Hinsdale Central Sectional Meet, Haley's 200 free time of 1 minute 49 seconds and .58 broke her previous school record of 1:50.50, and her 500 free time at sectionals of 5 minutes and 87 hundredths broke RB's school record of 5:06.46 from 2006. At state this year, Haley was 5th in the 200-yard freestyle with a time of 1:50 and 7/100, and 10th in the 500 freestyle at 4 minutes, 57 seconds, and 67/100, breaking her former school record by 1.74 seconds. Haley will continue her swimming career at the University of Illinois. Congratulations to Haley and her family.
And I just want to say thank you. I think Dr. Freitas, you recorded some of it and posted it.
I did.
So I watched it. It was very exciting. So I appreciate you being able to share that with those of us that were at home.
Up next is an all-state athlete in football, Max Strong. He was recognized downstate Thanksgiving weekend. He's a 6A all-state athlete. Congratulations to Max Strong on being named to the 2024 Illinois High School Football Coaches Association 6A All-State team. This season, Max led the Bulldogs with 100 total tackles, including 41 solo tackles. He had 1 interception for a touchdown. He had 1 sack and 1 fumble recovery. Max was the heart and soul of the Bulldog defense this year, and his commitment, passion, and love for his teammates made him one of the best leaders RB has had in many years. In addition to his all-state selection, Max was named Upstate 8 East Division Defensive Player of the Year, in addition to being all-conference, and he was also recognized for being on the Upstate 8 All-Academic team. And he's also on the 2024 IHSA All-Academic team. So congratulations to Max. He is here.
Congratulations, Max.
Congrats.
All right. Our last one is our cross-country runner. He may be en route. We'll see if he can make it here in time. But that is Brady Norman. He was a qualifier for our boys cross-country team. Congratulations to Brady Norman on qualifying for the IHSA Boys Cross Country State Meet. Brady ran a time of 14 minutes, 39 seconds, and 60/100 at the Hinsdale Central Sectional, earning an individual spot at the state meet. At the state meet at Peoria's Detweiler Park, Brady earned a personal best time of 15 minutes, 3 seconds, and 50/100, and he earned 77th place downstate. We want to congratulate Brady and his family, and we wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And we do have a coach representative here if he wants to speak any more on behalf of Brady as well.
No,
Mr. Jack
if
Brady.
he would have shown up, I would have
You would have earned it.
I will say on behalf of Brady, my kids ran with him for 4 years. Congratulations.
Good job, Brady. I do think, though, it would be appropriate if the coach did stand up for 1 second and come up front. Come on, Jack. Now, I may get some of this wrong, and Kristen's giving me the look, like, Kevin, don't ad-lib it, because when you go off script, you might mess some things up. But there was 3 or 4 years ago where we needed a cross-country coach, and somebody recommended, hey, why don't you give Coach Brady a call? And he's retiring, and he was retired.
I was retired.
And,
Happily retired.
he decided to take over our boys cross-country team and produce the first team state title for the school, right, if I'm not mistaken, and some great all-state runners. And I know a lot of people are sad to see you go, including myself. So thank you for all the things that you did for RB Cross Country over the last several years.
Thank you, my pleasure.
And that concludes our recognitions, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Freitas.
For those students recognized, that we could take some pictures, please. Okay, Max and Michaela. Okay, Ms. Fletcher.
Thank you. So we are going to, again, flip our order and go back to the hearing on the tax levy. So I'll read it in, and Ms. Gaska, if you could second it, we'll kind of flip roles here. I'm going to call to order a hearing on the 2024 tax levy for Riverside Brookfield High School District 208, Riverside, Illinois, the evening of December 10th, 2024.
Read
just say no.
Oh, second.
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 So now we're officially in the hearing. I know it's a bit of a formality, so I apologize. We're in the formality. I'll turn it over to Dr. Smetana to talk us through the tax levy, if you'd be so kind.
Yep, good evening.
Then on what page,
Mary Ann, if
Kristen?
you could go to board book page 10. The proposed levy, for which I'm asking the board to take action on tonight, was reviewed with Finance Advisory Council on November 7th. The proposal is to approve a levy increase of 4.95% in order to capture the maximum amount of taxes on new property. District 208 is tax capped by the PTEL limit for the levy year of 2024 at 3.4%. So the proposal is to approve a levy at 4.95% in order to capture the extra percentage on new property only. All existing property would be taxed at 3.4%. The new property trend has shown an average increase of about $1.6 million in new growth for the past 3 years. So if you look at the chart in board book page 10, which I know is very difficult to read when you are not zooming in, but column C is the extension from tax year 2022, or what we were entitled to receive that year. Column F is the extension from last year's tax year 2023. And then column J, which is the almost the last column, a gray column on the towards the right of the paper, is our tax levy for 2024. What we are asking for, again, it's 4.95% of what we received last year to capture new construction. Cook County will come in and adjust it down to the limit, which is 3.4%. So column K is the new money that we will likely receive in the operating funds, which is roughly around $823,959 is my estimate. Finally, at the bottom of the sheet, I've included fund balances in all accounts in order to be compliant with a relatively new Public Act, number 102-0895, which requires us to disclose our fund balances in our operating accounts, which we do at every board meeting anyways. But it's important to include it as a part of the hearing. Finally, included in the board packet tonight is the state levy form, along with the newspaper ad, which is published in the Landmark on November 27th, which shows that we've met the requirement for truth in taxation in order to have the public hearing tonight.
And were there any questions from the board or any questions this evening from board members? And did anyone from the public want to comment on the tax levy this evening from a hearing perspective? Seeing none, I believe we can take a motion to close the hearing on the tax levy, and we'll come back and vote on it later on in the meeting. So this is a motion to close the hearing on the 2024 tax levy for Riverside Brookfield High School.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation in taking that slightly out of order. We took care of recognitions. The Student Association is not here this evening, and we can move on to Dr. Skinkis' superintendent's report.
Thank you.
Just board book page 14, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, the East Gym, the repair work on the East Gym floor has been completed. The gym is still closed as the floor is in the process of curing. An expected opening should occur, a light opening the week of December 16th, so we can get some practices in there, and then hopefully the floor will be prepared for the holiday tournament over winter break. Culinary lab is completed. Dr. Smetana is finalizing punch list items, but students have been using the new lab since mid-November. Tonight on the agenda, you'll see Vision 2030. The education agencies in Illinois, the IASA, IASB, IASBO, IPA, have all come together again to set a vision for the next decade. If you remember, those of you that were parts of the school board for Vision 2020, it was a similar project. This plan prioritizes future-focused learning with shared accountability and predictable funding. Key points center around student safety, retaining and attracting high-quality teachers, post-secondary success, and accountability measures to measure schools and to provide that data in a timely manner so schools can use it to make improvements. So later tonight, you will see in the item on the agenda for a first read, school boards across the state are being asked to review the Vision 2030 plan and adopt a resolution to show their support. So when those school agencies bring it to the governor and the legislature, They know that school boards across the state are in support of it as well. The curriculum guide amendment, as discussed in November for the semester credit, that was shared out in a draft of that was shared out in a previous Friday update, is also included in tonight's packet, the language for the curriculum guide. If approved, this language would be added to the end of the applicable courses. The course description's in the curriculum guide, and it allows for a student to request a particular course be taken for semester credit in the event of a schedule conflict. As far as superintendent advisory councils are concerned, the Facilities Advisory Council met on Wednesday, November 20th, and we discussed annual QBR, or the quarterly QBR from Aramark, which just is an update on the projects they completed, employee different landmarks or benchmarks that their employees have met, safety standards that are being met, and projects they want to focus on in the future. We also discussed the emergency repairs to the East Gym, the school maintenance grant, the HVAC repair to the field house, and the potential future projects to the cafeteria, faculty cafeteria, conference room area, and finishing out a science lab. The Policy Advisory Council, I'm probably going to, like we talked about tonight a little earlier in one of our previous meetings, but the way Thanksgiving and the holiday break is falling, we'll probably do our Policy Advisory Council meeting after winter break and then bring the changes to the board in January. The requirements for Press Packet 117 do not require it to be approved till February, so we have time, but we will accomplish that in January. And that concludes my December superintendent's report.
Any questions or comments? No. Okay. Dr. Smetana.
Good evening. Tonight I'll provide the Board of Education with financial information through the month of November, which represents 42% of the fiscal year. On board book page 17, you'll see the total operating revenue for the month was $604,220, with 50% from evidence-based funding, which is state funding, 16% from local sources, and 15% from property tax. The total operating expenditures for the month were $2,602,854, with 72% towards salary and benefits, 7% on special education tuition, and 6% on transportation. On the next set of reports, you'll see the monthly financial statements. The summary of revenues shows that the district has received 47.7% of revenue, of budgeted revenue for this year. This percent is higher than this time last year significantly, all just because of the timing of property tax. The summary of expenditures shows that the district has spent 43.6% of our budgeted expenditures, which is pretty similar to this time last year, 44.6%. As always, I included the statement of revenues and expenditures both for the board accounts and for the activity accounts as well. I have two other informational items tonight. The first is Dr. Skinkis was mentioning about Aramark's, their business review. I included that entire packet for the board's information, so you can look at as when you have time. But I want to take a minute just to thank Aramark for all that they do for the district. They work really hard and often don't get their recognition, but they often work a lot behind the scenes to make sure that the building continues to function and looks as nice as it does. So I just want to thank Burham and his staff tonight. And then lastly, just an update from the liability insurance. I touched on this a little bit at the last board meeting, but the district has completed its 4th year with Alliant for liability insurance. Our insurance was due on December 1st, so we will continue our coverage with Illinois County's Risk Management Trust, which is an increase from last year's premium of about 36% due to the reassessment of our property values by $62 million. And so there were a few cost-saving potentials, but the risk didn't really outweigh the savings, and so we decided to keep the coverage the same for the next year. And then in the new calendar year, I'll begin to look at insurance cooperative options to determine if there's any other cost savings that the district could take in the following year.
Thank you, Kristen. Any questions from the board?
There were no questions.
Nothing here. I think it's Dr. Freitas.
Dr. Freitas, you wanted Mr. Torres to go first because we have a girls' basketball.
Yes, if it's
game going
okay
on.
with you, Madam President, I would love our Assistant Principal Athletics to present the fall summary first so he can go back to supervising the athletic
Sure.
contest this evening.
Sounds good.
Mr. Torres, you're up.
Sit.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Hello, everybody, again. I shared the fall sports summary that breaks down records and everything on there. Overall, though, our student athletes and coaches had a very successful fall season. It was a very welcomed transition to the new conference, and our student athletes and coaches were able to secure and win 5 conference championships. Those 5 conference championships were in girls volleyball, girls tennis, boys golf, girls golf, and boys soccer. Some recognitions for our student athletes in the conference. We had 40 students earn Upstate 8 all-conference honors this fall. We also had 99 student athletes earned academic all-conference, which is a 3.5 GPA or higher that is unweighted. So they don't factor in the weight on that. And it's only a varsity award. Some other highlights include, obviously, we just talked about our state qualifiers, but our boys golf team qualified for sectionals as a team, so they had a really successful year. We had a girls golfer, Lucia Vasana, qualified for sectionals. We had 2 boys soccer players that were named all-sectional by their Coaches Association. That was Diego Villegas and Tomas Canicas. And then our all-state recognized students that we have already discussed.
Wonderful. It's good to know that the transition to the new conference.
It's been a very healthy, good transition. It's very similar schools in terms of being all public schools.
And they don't want to uninvite us because we won too many things.
No, not yet. So we'll see. But we're looking forward to the winter as we
See how that goes.
transition
Yes.
here. And but yeah, it was at our conference AD meetings when they hand out the plaques. I brought all 5 stacks back, so that was nice.
Is there, there should be participation numbers for each sport and pay to participate numbers and all that? Is that not in this report, or did you and Dr. Ferris going to send that later?
Oh, I can send that later. I didn't
It's supposed
see
to be
that.
included in, so in the future, I noticed your first
Yeah.
report, so the board likes to see each sport, the 4-year breakdown of participation, if it's up and down by sport,
Okay.
and then the pay to participate.
We had 478 student athletes in the fall. That's up from 459 last year.
Okay.
But I don't have the
Why
specific
don't you
breakdown.
go through those tables with Dr. Freitas, and then once you guys finalize those, you could send it to me tomorrow, tomorrow, and I'll send them out on Friday.
Is this when we get it, or do we get during the culture update?
No, they'll
the
get it
school
each,
culture?
at the end of each season, they'll do it.
Okay, no,
each team's numbers, and so it's
Okay,
okay, I'm sure they'll get that, and just send it out, I'll put it in the Friday update,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for. Okay, I'm up. So welcome again, folks. So under teaching and learning, just a quick update here. So RB Prep, which is free test prep for juniors, this information just came out, so I'm sharing it. Sessions start the week of January 12th and run to the first week of April. Students must sign up by December 20th. The information is available online. So if you have a junior or your neighbors have juniors, please share the word. We just had last week our first FAFSA completion night. It was a success. There was absolutely no glitches with the FAFSA. Knock on wood. Don't want to jinx it this year. It opened on time December 1st. It was nice to see. I had 2 former students of mine that work for ISAC were facilitating. One from here, RB, and one from Chicago when I was a principal there. So it was really nice to see that 2 former students assisting our families. And again, it was well received. I'd like to recognize Mr. Emerson, Ms. Guzman, our counseling department, our student services department, Ms. Beth Augustine did a fantastic job. The 30 or 40 plus families that came, that were a help, they all completed it. Again, no glitch, no issues, everything went completely well. The same evening, we also had college night for juniors and parents, and again, we had 3 college representatives here, assistant deans, financial experts, and they provided, great information about what to start doing, as you go through this journey. And the key take was, right, visit the schools, find out find out if you like being there, find out if they have what you want to study. So again, a big shout out to our department. our student services department. Final exams is among us, right? Next week, it's upon us. So we have a week and a half. We open up on the 17th, on Tuesday. So that day, we take the first 7th period final from 12:30 to 2, and students are dismissed at 2. And then the next consecutive days, we run finals to 11:15. Then students are dismissed, but students can make a final from 11:30 to 1 throughout those days. So final exams are upon us, folks. If you folks have had an opportunity, I do want to share that we do have a new app now. Please download it. It's absolutely fantastic. We have it for iPhone, right, and for Android and Apple. It is great. You can see the events. You can see schedules. From the parents that I've engaged in, they absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
What's it called, Dr. Freitas?
RB Bulldogs. It should have. It has a black background and it has Rouser, our mascot there. Okay. On the school coach and operations and our superintendent's bubble, we're excited that the East Gym will be opening up right in the next week or two. So we're excited to have it, all of our gyms, available once more. We have winter break coming up from the 23rd to the 3rd, and then classes will resume on Monday, January 6th.
Is that a late start?
I'm sorry. Yes, it will be a late start. Yep. On December 19th, we have Pack the Place basketball, Special Olympics basketball, 6 p.m. in the main gym. Be there. It's always a great time. I will be there as well. And with that said, I would like to hand it over to our student advisor to the Board of Education for her report.
Good evening, Honorable Board. Thank you so much for your time. I know Emma isn't here, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in for both of us today. So to begin with teaching and learning for December, like Dr. Freitas mentioned, we do have final exams. So I just kind of want to talk a little bit about that preparation and things that the students are going to be going through within this week as well as the beginning of next week in preparation for finals. So I know personally, like even a lot of my friends and peers at school are going to their teachers, figuring out what assignments maybe they need to make up, or maybe asking for help like with an extension, things like that. As well, I know NHS is also hosting a study table tomorrow, actually after school. So for students that are thinking or like they need some extra help, before those finals. If there's something they're struggling with in a class, they're able to go and talk to NHS tutors after school tomorrow. So that's another thing that can help students with finals. All right, and then moving on to school culture and operations. So for December, on December 6th, RBTV hosted an annual toy drive. And they had that with WGN TV. So they came, did a little segment about their toy drive and everything. So that was last week. And then on the 31st of December will be RBHS Senior Yearbook ads due. So if any family would like to put in an ad about their loved one, about their senior that's graduating, they are more than welcome to by that December 31st deadline. Moving on to activities and athletics. So in December, December 4th, we had the RD East Showcase, which is the Repertory Dance Ensemble show. This was from 7 to 9 p.m., and this was in the auditorium for $12 for adults and then $10 for seniors and for students. And then on the 10th and 11th is the holiday RB concert. So this also took place yesterday during school hours for students during their classes to go see as well. And it's taking place tonight as well and tomorrow. So we highly encourage those who are able to attend to be able to come out and support the RB music department, like the choir, orchestra, etc. So it started at 7 p.m. So it'll start at 7 p.m. today. It'll start at 7 p.m. tomorrow, and it'll be in the auditorium. It'll be $10 for adults and then $5 for students. And then from the 10th to the 12th is the Winter Art Exhibition. So RB students in art classes were able to showcase their own art from first semester, ranging from ceramics to photography. So this began today and will continue until this Thursday. So it began at 6 p.m. today and it'll go on for 6 p.m. for the next 2 days, and it'll be in the art pit right outside the room. And then the 10th through 13th is the Shenanigans Winter Show. So this will be from 3:15 to 5:15 p.m. So this will take place after school up until that 5:15 point. And if you are looking for a laugh, just come support the RB Shenanigans crew, and it'll be in the Little Theater. And then on the 13th is going to be the Clarion hard copy distribution. So this one is something that me and Emma are both involved in. Emma and I both have managing roles in that class. I'm editor-in-chief and Emma is a general managing editor. So we're very proud of this hard copy that's going to be coming out on Friday. We just submitted to the printer today, so that would be something that, we're very proud of, very relieved to get it off our chest.
Big accomplishment, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's our second hard copy of the year, so we're excited for you guys to be able to read some articles about what's been going on at RB and things like that. So that'll be at 7:15, door A and G, but I know we always keep some extra copies in the office and things like that for you guys to read. So it'll be this Friday. And then finally, on the 15th, RBHS Dance is going to host a breakfast with Santa. So this is going to be from 9 to 12 p.m. So it'll be in that morning time for those who want to bring their kids, bring family, and things like that. And that'll be in the student cafeteria for $12 for adults and then $10 for students. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for all the holiday updates as well. It's appreciated. Dr.
All
Freitas.
right, I'm next with our academic updates. Tonight I will be providing an overview of interventions at RB. Critical in helping us maintain high freshman on track and graduation rates, and whose purpose is for students to improve their reading, math, English skills, along with credit recovery opportunities for seniors and literacy coaching for staff. At the freshman level, if you look at the document, we have 4 current interventions. We have reading, pre-algebra, extended algebra, and algebra academic support. So the goal is, the purpose, to support students' reading and math, and we use resources such as Read 180, FastBridge, teacher-created curriculum, our standard curriculum, etc. At the sophomore level, we have sophomore reading. Again, the goal is to improve students' reading proficiency. We use Read 180, FastBridge, and iExcel, again, digital learning platform that monitor and support students' acquisition of math and English skills. At the junior level, we have CAP, which is college admissions preparation. It's a test prep class, so to speak, to improve students. The goal is to improve student proficiency in English, reading, math, and for the following year, science. We use retired standardized tests and teacher-created materials. We have a Tier 3 pull-out intervention, which I will speak more in detail. Again, we provide intervention based on STAR assessments. We use Albert, classwork from English, and Algebra 2 Trig, and teacher created. We have RB Prep, which is a before and after school kind of test prep course. Again, the goal is to improve student skills in English, reading, and math. We use retired tests. We use teacher created materials. And for the seniors, we have Apex, which is the online platform we use for digital recovery that has worked well. And then for all teachers, we have literacy coaching. If you go to the next page, I just wanted to add a little more details on our Tier 3 pull-out intervention. So the criteria for receiving intervention must be at the junior level, Gen Ed students, and this is for students scoring below benchmark on the STAR, which is an interim assessment taken 4 times a year, and PSAT scores. The population of average juniors receiving intervention. The total number of individual students in the target population in need of intervention based on the criteria that I just mentioned is 96. 45 of the 96 are currently in CAP, the college admission preparation course. The number of students identified in math support based on STAR and PSAT scores in the fall was 57. 15 out of the 57 are in CAP. The number of students identified for ELA support based on STAR and PSAT scores 87. 37 of the 87 are in CAP class. And the number of students receiving pull-out interventions support during the semester, in semester 1, is 8. These are the students who are not in CAP class. Each of the students is in need of intervention in math and ELA. And we have a certain group, a number of students that are not receiving an intervention due to scheduling and limited access. 43 out of the 96, or 45%, could unfortunately are not receiving any intervention. We do have a gap that we are attacking and supporting. If you look there, on average, Hispanic students scored 27 less points on the ELA SAT than whites. Blacks scored 41 points on average less than whites. And then if you keep on looking to the right there, you have the Black and Hispanic comparison. But 2 numbers that also stand out is students with an IEP, diverse learners, and Gen Ed students. That gap is minus 27. And the low-income to non-low-income ratio is minus 16. So as you can see, there are several factors that impact or have systemically impacted, students of all backgrounds, students of certain backgrounds. The gap is there, but again, we're working hard to close it. We're looking at this data. All this is found on our Illinois report card, but we're looking to close, and we're working hard towards it. Pull-out intervention progress. 100% of our students receiving pull-out intervention show at least one area of STAR in math with positive growth. 100% of students receiving pull-out intervention passed the English class in Q1. 88% of students receiving pull-out intervention passed their math class in Q1. 80% of students receiving pull-out intervention passed all their classes for Q1. So what does this tell us? Intervention supports are robust at that freshman level, at that 9th grade, but drops off as students progress throughout the year. The current structure doesn't allow for enough access points to reach all students in need of intervention. Our teacher that does the intervention has one class scheduled this semester and 2 next semester. So there's some access issues that we need to work with. And some other roadblocks, in students' need of intervention, access points. Currently, we're using study hall and academic support to pull some students. There's some students that don't have a study hall. There's some students that are credit deficient and don't have study hall at all. They have 7 full courses. There's students that are invested in the world languages, fine arts, applied arts, and dual enrollment that likely do not have room on their schedule for the intervention. And at the end of the day, we do recommend students, however, there is some student and family refusal because they choose to do other classes and not a certain intervention. We see the gap. We're committed to addressing the gap. We're working with our multi-tier supports and intervention team to move that forward and to close the gap. Again, it'll take some time, but we're on it because we want to make sure that this school supports everyone and gives them what they need.
So questions on this for Dr. Freitas? I think none were submitted beforehand. Always a good sign. But I appreciate the comprehensive nature. This obviously supports one of our goals from the district. I like seeing it spelled out in such detail. I'm looking to my left and my right, wondering if anyone has any comments or questions. I mean, obviously, addressing that remaining 45% that does not have an intervention right now is a shared goal, right?
Yes.
That's a significant number.
Yeah, it is.
That would be my only question is, why? Is it just scheduling, or 43 seems like, and 45% is a lot for such a small, nice, intimate school. So just curious if
7 classes,
I don't
like we
know.
talked a little bit about.
Like
at the
why,
previous
do we know
meeting,
why
like
they're not?
7 classes, and then not having a study hall aligned with the same time period the teacher has off.
Yes.
And so that's what we talked about last in our meeting with the union.
So maybe it's helpful of those 43 to understand the specifics to each. Is that what you're kind of asking?
Right.
Like how many
That's what I'm kind of touching on. That a lot of them have 7 classes, or they
Yes.
don't have a study hall. That aligns with the teacher's off period. And currently, we do not pull a kid from their PE class to go in and get help for another class. So that's what we were talking about with the board. Like, we think we've identified a way to get 1, more kids scheduled for CAP, and 2, maybe there's a way that some of those students may be able to qualify for a PE waiver, or the state requirement of 3 days a week of PE, so that they can fit into their schedule some intervention next year. So we think we've started. What I hope you're taking away from this, we're nowhere near where we need to be, but this is a good starting spot of like the divisionals, the principal, assistant principal, and they're starting to bring to me now, like, okay, here's our stick. Okay, well, now we go to the board and we talk about amending board policy in regards to PE waivers, or we talk about how we're going to use the staffing allotment to increase interventions. At the same time, I push back to Dr. Freitas and say, like, you need to start pulling numbers with your team, because if I look at this, right, we're still kind of missing a sophomore math. If you look at, we have 3 interventions for the juniors, even though the RB prep is for everybody, and the CAP is more for below benchmark, but we get students, we still don't have a sophomore math. We have sophomore reading. But we have academic support for freshmen, but we don't have algebra academic support, but we don't have a geometry, right?
No.
So, I mean, there's a couple things that were identified, and that's the good thing about the board goal, right? The board goal was first approved in August, so, I mean, we kind of had an idea of some of these things. But this is going to be one we're going to need to work on for a year or two, like reshaping some things. Because when you stumble upon these things in September, October, and you start running these numbers, you start to identify, okay, we gotta do some things different for next year as we're starting to pull kids' schedules and kids are starting to pick classes for next year.
I just did have one more question on the numbers. So it says the total number of students needing intervention is 96, and then you break it down, math and ELA. I don't know why in my mind I thought they would add up to 96. Can you
Some of them overlap.
overlapped, right?
Yes,
Is that
Some
what
that
it
need
is?
both,
Some
Some did
okay.
both, that's it.
some
Yeah.
that just need English.
Some need
So
one
what's
or
the
the other.
96? They need,
Total identified.
Total identified.
So some need both, some need one.
got it.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited. I know, we're coming up on right staffing, and I know, the district always, right, gives the charge to the building, right? We need to, look at, our staffing numbers and possibly repurpose, some of the FTE given to, right? That's part of the conversations that, we are having and we will continue to have with our division heads, building administration, because there's definitely some gaps there of supports that we need.
And then are you able to group them as a cohort and see where this gap starts to widen? Because why wait till junior year if we can maybe catch them right off the bat, freshman and sophomore year?
I think the target was junior years, right, because the test is this year?
Correct.
You're going to filter down.
But it should, I understand what you're
No,
saying, if you're
because-
following the freshman on track.
There's no better test prep
Yes.
than actually learning what you're, than actually meeting the benchmark freshman and sophomore year.
Right.
Because if you're below benchmark, I could give you all the test prep in the world, and if you're scoring a 15, you're only going to go up to an 18. And
Yes,
so
I
just
understand
trying to
what you're
figure it
saying
out.
makes sense, so that you start tracking, those students that are at the PSAT 8 would hopefully have some type of intervention as freshmen.
Yes,
After
like
the
catch them as
PSAT
a-
9, those center students should have some type of intervention as a sophomore, so that hopefully by the time, the number of the 96 should decrease by the time they're hopefully
Yes.
juniors, if we're doing the interventions correctly. I'm sure you're going to be diving into this with your team and your division.
Yes, Dr. Skinkis.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Is that what
numbers.
you're saying, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, let's not wait till junior year. Let's catch them
Yes, Madam Vice
as they
President.
got here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Moving on to discussion items, Dr. Skinkis, we had 3 FOIA requests, I believe.
Yes, Mary Ann, what page are those on? Okay. We had a request for emails in regard to the semester-long classes from a Maggie White, Sherry Reed, Mark Cure, which we get on a regular basis, and then Melissa Lee, League of Women Voters, was looking for the contact information of the candidates. Those are the 3 FOIA requests submitted since our last meeting.
Thank you. Do we have any other update on district goals, or that was,
That's
the academic
that was the
intervention
update
was really,
today.
okay. So we are at visitor statements. Mr. Monty. I'm going to read a quick intro paragraph while you get situated, if that's okay. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages the participation of its citizens in the business of the school district. There are 2 points in the meeting where visitor statements are scheduled. Citizens are welcome to raise questions or make comments at either one. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and cannot be combined. Please note the Board of Education will not answer questions or engage in dialogue during visitor comments. If a person would like additional time to address the board, such a request should be submitted in writing 48 hours before the meeting to the superintendent. And Mr. Monty did follow that process, so he does have additional time this evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I had hoped to have spoken to you all for the last time in October when I gave that RBF report, but here I am once again to inform the District 208 School Board about the consistent lack of leadership in this building after Dr. Skinkis, Dr. Smetana, and Dr. Freitas all violated District Board Policy 4.160 on environmental quality of building and grounds, and more importantly, Illinois Code 820, ILCS 255, which is the Toxic Substance Disclosure to Employees Act. On Thursday, November 14th, I left an annual IEP review at 12:30 p.m. in room 170 in the special education hallway, which is in the southeast part of the building. Upon opening the office door, I was immediately hit by an odor that smelled like very strong spray paint. I walked to my classroom in the science hallway, which is in the northeast part of the building, and I didn't smell anything. After I taught my 5th hour class, I opened my door to stand in the hallway to greet students, and I was again struck by the odor. It was much stronger now and smelled like gasoline. My sixth-hour students entered and immediately began to complain about the odor. After teaching that class, I opened my door again and stood in the hall for the all-state swim parade, and the smell was even stronger. A colleague walked by and said they were sealing the East Gym floor. After teaching seventh hour, my ecology club students began entering my room for our weekly meeting. They too complained about the odor. After 45 minutes, I ended the meeting early, as I now had a severe headache and my eyes were burning. I went home and sent an email at 4:30 p.m. to members of the administration, my division head, the union president, and the head of maintenance. No one responded. I didn't feel better until about 7 p.m. that night. The next morning, Friday, November 15th, I entered the school around 6:30 a.m., and I didn't smell anything. But as soon as I started walking down the science hallway, I began to smell the odor, and it grew progressively stronger as I walked east towards my room. I sent a text about the smell to an administrator at 6:42 a.m. and sent the first of several emails to the administration and staff starting at 6:56 a.m. I sent an email to Dr. Skinkus stating that this would be a good time for an e-learning day. 3 weeks earlier, he had told all the staff to have our e-learning lesson plans ready because an e-learning day does not always have to be weather-related. Not one administrator or supervisor responded directly to any of my emails or texts. Not even a "thanks, Dave, we're looking into this right now." By 7:15 a.m., my headache returned and was quite severe. My eyes were also very irritated. I had an important lab ready for my first and second hour classes for that day, so I stayed and I did the lab. Multiple students complained to me before school, and I told them to see the nurse if they were not feeling well. While doing the lab second hour, I received an email from Dr. Smetana at 9:15, stating that the second coat planned for later that same afternoon was now being pushed back to 6 a.m. Saturday morning. Another administrator sent out an email to the staff offering the option to move your class to another room if the smell was too strong. After second hour, I put together sub-plans for the rest of the day during my third hour prep, and I left around 10:15 a.m. I did not feel better till around 1:30 p.m. Throughout the morning, other staff messaged me or talked to me in person about their concerns and their symptoms, including nausea. But when I asked them to tell the administration, none to my knowledge did. A few told me they wouldn't because they feared repercussions. I do not have any health conditions outside of arthritis and back pain from 2 previous back surgeries. I don't have asthma, I don't have any heart conditions or any other respiratory conditions. But a fair number of our student population do, and so do some of our staff. And the smell source, which was the East Gym, was closest to our most vulnerable student population. Because there was no communication before this work was done to the East Gym, this administration recklessly endangered the health of the entire student body and staff. And the plans for this refinish were first discussed over the summer and then again at the October 22nd board meeting by Dr. Skinkus. But in clear violation of both the board policy and state policy, no one was informed of when this work was going to be performed and the hazards involved. As the senior staff member in this building, who's experienced at least 2 similar events to this in the 1990s, I would have definitely said something if we had been properly informed, but we weren't. What if a student had a bad reaction? What if a staff member was pregnant? This was something several female staff members asked me. Why was no one informed before this happened so that necessary precautions could have been taken? The fall play was that weekend, as was an age group swim meet, both of which had been on the calendar for months. Where is the forward thinking? I have said this countless times, both to the board and to my students. A school's #1 responsibility is creating a safe learning environment. That was definitely not the case starting that Thursday afternoon. Almost all those sealants are petroleum-based, which are quite toxic and can be carcinogenic. Even water-based sealants have volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, in them. The containers were in the hallway near the training room by door L until December 5th, and the labels have multiple warnings, which I took photos of. The label warnings included skin irritation, drowsiness, dizziness, and organ damage through prolonged or repeated exposure. There was also possible use restrictions due to local air quality VOX regulations. Both sealants have a maximum VOX content of 500 grams per liter. I have not yet been able to find what the acceptable VOX level for sealants is in Illinois. But in 2008, the federal government capped the VOX content in paint at 250 grams per liter for flat finishes, 380 grams per liter for other finishes like low luster and semi-gloss. Many states have passed laws that are even more stringent. And again, both sealants used on the East Gym floor have a VOX rating of 500 grams per liter. I finally found the MSDS sheets on the product's own website. And under hazards identification, the first line states OSHA says these products are hazardous under code 29 CFR 1910-1200. And they give the same identical warnings that I just mentioned that were on the labels, with the prolonged exposure being the worst one. It also states that workers must wear goggles when applying this chemical, and they should be in well-ventilated areas. Several colleagues told me the workers in the East Gym were wearing respirator masks. Yet your students and staff were breathing those hazardous vapors over parts of 2 days, as were hundreds of student athletes in the youth basketball tournament the following weekend. I could still smell it at the east end of the school on Friday evening, November 22nd, and there were extra fans helping with air circulation and heat. This Sunday afternoon, I was in that area getting ready for an Eco Club work day. I could still smell the toxins. In addition, not one member of this administration followed up with me about the fumes or even asked how I was feeling until Monday, November 25th, when Ms. Lindquist, who had been out for the week, inquired about my well-being. On Tuesday, December 3rd, I arrived to school around 6:35 in the morning to get ready for the day. Shortly before 7:30, I walked out of my classroom to go to the copy room, and I noticed a new smell in the hallway. It wasn't as strong, and it smelled much more like tar and not gasoline. At 7:31, I returned to my classroom, and I emailed the administration and the head of maintenance. Over the span of the next 30 minutes, 3 assistant principals, a chemistry teacher, and my division head all came down to my room to investigate. They all agreed they could smell it, and the smell got stronger as you moved east towards the field house. And at 8:55 a.m., during the passing period, the head of maintenance questioned me in the hallway. He said the roofers were here at 7 a.m. that morning, but they weren't doing any repairs yet. He also said he didn't smell anything then or now. I also received an email at 8:47 from Dr. Smetana while I was teaching that stated we switched to a water-based coating which is odorless. It is also green and LEED certified. As a result, we didn't feel the need to notify staff as it is compliant with all environmental gold standards. My response was, then what did we smell this morning? I still am waiting for a response. This blatant disregard for the well-being of students and staff is not only unacceptable and unethical, it violates school board policy and state policy. And there's a ridiculous double standard here. What would happen to a staff member if they ignored an email from a parent or a board member or an administrator? They would face disciplinary action and be marked down on their evaluation. But for some unknown reason, it is acceptable for RB administrators to not inform students, parents, and staff about something that will significantly impact the school day. And it is also acceptable for an RB administrator to never respond to an email from a staff member. Almost every week, we hear Dr. Freitas say, here at RB, we love you, we care about you, we got your back. But this isn't true. These are meaningless, empty words if there's no action taken to back it up. Lastly, I was docked 0.6 of a sick day when I went home ill that Friday. I was only ill because of the actions and inactions of your administration. I thought you would all like to know what transpired on these 2 days and how poorly the situation was handled. and maybe the board might want to speak about what transpired with the district's legal counsel. Thank you for your time and the extension. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional discussion items from anyone on the board for this evening, future meetings? Ms. Ruska?
If we could take a few minutes, we came back from the conference, if anybody has some highlights to share, at the end of
You're
our
referring to the Illinois Association of School
Yeah.
Board Conference. Sure, go ahead.
Oh, this is the time?
We'll do it now because we can.
I just really want, appreciate the opportunity. The board spent some money on our professional development. And, that conference is a nice opportunity to talk with people all over the state and, hear what other people are doing in different districts around. I always love the plenaries. I didn't get to spend as much time this year as in past, but really was blown away. The school board member who was recognized came from Westmont, tiny little school. The high school's like down to 500, and it was a physician who got roped into being a school member and thought, well, how hard could it be? And she kind of gave her story and doing some really novel things. This, from my point, I always try to pick up a book or something that they're, the point of the year. Last year, there was a nice emphasis on diversity and equity. This year, they had some more information on the indigenous history. I picked up that. And then one of the plenaries, I put this book on my Christmas list for the kids, something easy for them to get. You'll probably, Dr. Skinkis and Dr. Smetana will probably know them. Mike Lubfelt and Nick Pollack. They gave this really compelling talk. Their books are The Unfinished Leader, The Unlearning Leader, and you probably heard those books. And the two men presented together. They were very funny and engaging, and they had asked everyone, what color is a warning sign on a road, and everyone's thinking, well, yellow and black. And they're like, well, it hasn't been yellow and black in years, but that's what you learned in driver's ed, and you haven't unlearned it. And, it just went through all these incidents of things that we've learned, and even talked about the Nobel Peace Prize winner trying to get people to believe that A. pylori caused the ulcers, and started to apply that to education, what we're doing with education. And I thought, well, that's certainly going to be one of my highlights this year. But, I appreciate so much that opportunity to hear something that you don't get, because you could be in your career and you have that, and then to think about what's changed and things that we used to do that were best standard, and we're like, yeah, they ain't best standard anymore. Reverse all that. It's pretty good. And it was great to hear what some of the districts around us were doing. So I'm just really grateful for that opportunity. It was a nice conference.
Good. And thanks for your feedback. Anyone else?
I attended as well, and I would like to just report that a lot of the sessions this year focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Again, I attended a session on budgeting through the lens of equity. It was interesting. I'd like to say that I think in many regards, we're ahead of the game. So it felt good to be able to sit there and actually know that we're doing a better job. And the other two workshops I attended dealt with recruiting leaders of color, which I think that as part of the equity committees that we have here at the school, that's been touched on as well. So it was just a really great opportunity to connect the trends that are out there versus what we're doing here, and we're doing a good job overall.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for bringing it up. Thank you. Thanks for everyone who attended. Moving on to consent agenda. I think we have 2 items on consent, Ms. Gaska.
Yes, the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, takes the following action on the listed consent agenda item. Approves approval of minutes from regular meeting November 12, 2024, and the Life Touch contract extension, as presented in the December 10, 2024 board agenda packet.
Second.
Second from Ms. Locke, and we need a roll call, please.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Truska?
Yes.
Ms. Locke?
Yes.
And Ms. Salis?
Yes. Old business, do we have an update on the solar panel project?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
The administration has been in communication with the new third-party consultant, Mark Pruitt, from the Power Bureau LLC. The attached contract has been reviewed by district's legal counsel. Exhibit A in the contract outlines the scope of work to be provided by the Power Bureau. Once this contract is in place, we can begin to work on revising the RFP and being able to issue that. We did have a preliminary meeting yesterday, which included myself, Burham, and Tony Rossi, who is from Nicholas and helping us manage the project. And we discussed submitting a pre-application to ComEd to add solar panels to the grid to make sure that ComEd has enough space and capacity to do so. The process for reviewing the draft RFP, creating a timeline for the project, setting up weekly check-in meetings, and then how to post the RFP on the Illinois Solar Energy Association website, and how to send it out directly to all of the solar companies. So hopefully we can hit the ground running once we have this in place. It is a first read. It would be helpful if the board could approve it tonight, but at the same time, Mr. Pruitt understands that school boards sometimes need a little extra time, and he's okay with that as well.
I appreciate you working through this. I know it's been a bit of a heavy lift to get us to this point, so thank you. What does the board say about approving this evening? Any objection, thoughts?
I don't have a problem moving forward.
Yeah,
I did mean to submit a question, and I won't put you too far on the spot, but is this structure, looks like it's set up slightly different than Nania, where this is pay for consultation and that's it? I didn't see it. And so Nania's was set up as a portion of production. This one is just straight fee.
Yes,
Is that right?
and it's not to exceed 6,000, but he will, as you saw in the scope of work, he will get us completely through
over
selecting
4 months or whatever.
selecting the vendor and going through the whole RFP process. He's very familiar with Illinois procurement laws and is very familiar with the design build process, which is what we're going out under the RFP for.
Okay.
Was there an estimated RFP issuance date on this?
There's not.
Okay.
We just, like I said, we just met yesterday, and it really, we haven't put together, he has a timeline put together, and then I need to try to drop some dates on to see if it makes sense. But the RFP needs to be reviewed by the district, as well as the district's architect, as well as the district's attorney and the insurance consultant. So given that and winter break, my goal would be to try to issue it sometime in February.
Okay.
So it would be helpful for us to approve it now so that you can get started on some of that.
Yes, it would be. But
Give you a little more
And the
time.
district's attorney reviewed this.
That was going to be my follow-up question as well, just
yes,
confirm.
the contract initiated from the district's attorney.
So
So
there are
yes.
no changes or anything to this?
Correct. This is final.
This is final.
So, quick question. We're stepping back and redoing like the contract. That doesn't knock us out of any of the rebates and everything,
No,
does it?
we've
Right?
already, it's kind of complicated to explain, but you kind of have to put yourself in a queue with the election results and a different party taking office. We wanted to make sure we put ourselves in queue for those rebates so that we were still eligible for them in case they changed once a new party took office. So we've done that. So between that and then filing with ComEd for the pre-application, we'll be in a good spot.
Okay. So any concerns about moving forward tonight from anyone?
No, I don't.
No.
I think we can.
Okay.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the agreement with the Power Bureau LLC as presented in the December 10, 2024 board agenda packet.
Second.
Second from Mr. Van Horst. We do need a roll call.
Mr. Van Horst?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Truska?
Yes.
Ms. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
And Ms. Salis?
Yes. Moving on to the adoption of the 2024 tax levy. Lots to read here. If any more questions? I know we had the hearing this evening. We've seen this a couple times. I think we're probably comfortable moving forward.
Whereas the Board of Education of Riverside Brookfield Township High School District number 208, Cook County, Illinois, has determined the amount of money that is necessary to be raised by taxation for the year 2024. And whereas the Board of Education has heretofore adopted a budget resolution for the district for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. And whereas the Board of Education disclosed at a public meeting its intention to adopt a levy, and whereas the Board of Education provided notice of its intent to adopt a levy. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Board of Education of Riverside Brookfield Township High School District number 208, Cook County, Illinois, as follows. 1, that there shall be and there is hereby levied by the board the amounts set forth on Exhibit A attached hereto and made a part of this resolution, which is the certificate of tax levy for the year 2024. And 2, that the board president and board secretary are hereby authorized to execute the certificate of tax levy and supporting forms and certifications, and the district administration is hereby authorized and directed to file the certificate of tax levy and all supporting forms and certifications with the county clerk of Cook County, Illinois.
Could we have a second, please?
Second.
Second for Mr. Van Horst, and we do need a roll call.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Ms. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Van Horst?
Yes.
And Ms. Davis?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Press Plus Policy Issue 117, I think Dr. Skikas, you referenced that earlier.
Correct.
So that is,
Nothing to
right,
adapt.
the meeting will, the group will meet in January.
If the board has any questions, please submit them to me.
Wonderful. School calendar 25-26, this is a second read for adoption, I believe, this evening.
That is correct. If the board is comfortable, I'd like to approve it.
Any objection, any questions? I think none were submitted. If you don't mind, please, thank you.
The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, adopts the 2025-2026 school calendar, providing for the opening day of school on Tuesday, August 12, 2025, and the ending day of school on Thursday, May 21, 2026, if no emergency days are used, for a total school term of 186 days as presented in the December 10, 2024 board agenda packet.
Can someone second, please?
Second.
Awesome.
I have a second from Ms. Locke, and we do, that's an all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Hearing none? Kit Kat passes, excuse me. Under new business, we have payment of bills this evening.
There were no questions
No
submitted
questions, so I think we can move ahead with that, please.
The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the payment of bills as presented in the December 10, 2024 board agenda packet.
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin. We need an all in favor. I'm sorry, this is a roll call. I apologize.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Ms. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Van Horst? Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
And Ms. Davis?
Yes. Then we have the amended curriculum guide language that Dr. Skinkis referenced earlier, and we had discussed at our prior board meeting. Any question on this or any more comment from the administration?
No questions were submitted. The board has seen this since November. I concluded in the Friday update.
I think this clarifies where we were going with the discussion at this point, so thank you for getting back to us. Ms. Gaska?
The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the curriculum guide language change as presented in the December 10, 2024 board agenda packet.
Second. Second from Ms. Locke. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Motion carries. The DELT equity definition.
So Dr. Freitas touched on last week the DELT plan and all the different strand teams. Dr. Smetana, myself, Mike Reingruber, John Ezagiri, and Juan Tinoco are part of the system strand, which is really the district/board operational level, working with the school board if a policy needs to be adjusted or anything at the overall general systems or operating procedures. And one of the recommendations was after we adopted the new mission statement for the high school was to have the district adopt a definition of equity, how we would define equity. And so after looking at several examples and doing a lot of research and collaborating with our group, this is the example of the definition that we would like for the board to consider adopting. This is a first read. The definition is equity is having high expectations for every student learner and providing the support and resources so each learner can develop to their full academic and social potential.
Okay, well, I appreciate their work on this. I know these committees can take up a fair amount of time and effort. So Dr. Freitas, thank you. Do you want us to do a first read on this, or does the board want to look at it and think on it?
We sent it out to the staff as well, and staff,
Okay.
students, and parents, and we got 72 responses, and from the feedback, this is the definition after we got stakeholder feedback.
It's concise, it's succinct. Yeah, I think it's clear.
I would have no objection moving forward if that's what the group wants to do. I'm looking down here. I think I appreciate, again, the feedback and their inclusiveness to getting to this point. Ms. Gaska?
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the equity definition as presented in the December 10, 2024 Board Agenda Packet.
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Novak. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? That carries. Thank you.
Madam President, if I could add,
Yeah.
I believe at the last moment there was an inquiry if we're still working with Dr. Dubiel. We're working with Doctora Dubiel. We actually had her here last week, and come February come March, we'll be supporting our newly hired staff in the last 3 to 5 years. We want to catch them up on the DEI work, so we are continuing to work with Doctora Dubiel. She's very busy now. She's an assistant superintendent of Oswego leading DEI out there. We are working with her to move our professional development forward.
Thank you. Thanks for the update. Vision 2030 call to action, Dr. Skinkis.
Yes, as I previously described during my report, again, this is just it's kind of a formality. It's a suggested motion that the board consider approving. It would be a very general motion, just that the board, approves supporting Vision 2030 as the members of the groups that we support. Dr. Freitas is part of the IPA, Dr. Smetana is part of IASBO, I'm a part of IASA, I sit on the state directing board for that organization, and obviously the school board is part of the IASB. So if we can consider adopting that resolution, maybe put it on the consent agenda in January. We don't have there was a motion that was included in the paperwork. I don't know, it's not included tonight, so we'll adjust that, and we can put it on the consent agenda if the board's okay with that.
I think that makes sense to put on the consent. Yeah, this is, the committee members for this, it's an impressive assortment of people who've come to this Vision 2030, and advocating in Springfield takes a lot of voices and a lot of cooperation. So I don't think we'd have any objections, but we can do it in January as part of consent. Thanks.
Thank you.
Visitor opportunity? Yeah. Okay, it's the second opportunity. We're going to move on. Discussion items. We took it slightly out of order. We had Ms. Ruska speak at the time. Any consideration of items for future meetings from any member of the board? Looking to my left, looking to my right. And matters for closed session. We do have appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. We have student discipline, individual student matters.
That's why I went right in.
Purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable imminent or pending litigation, collective negotiations, school safety, and confidentiality of closed session minutes.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering the closed session matters as presented in the December 10, 2024 Board Agenda Packet.
Second. Second from Ms. Locke, and we need a roll call.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ruska?
Yes.
Ms. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Benforth?
Yes.
And Ms. Sims?
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. It's 8:21. We can move to closed session.